Welcome back, it's me, Lou. I'm here for another action figure unboxing and review. Today from Hasbro in their Marvel Legends series, we are featuring Marvel celebrating 85 years, Wolverine. Okay, so for many people, this might be the end-all, be-all of Wolverine figures. It's a gorgeous looking figure. This recreates Logan as he appeared in Astonishing X-Men, which was like a lifetime ago if you're a comic book reader. Great looking figure. One thing that's really striking about this figure, in my opinion, is the shade of blue that they used. I kind of feel like this blue is pretty accurate to what we saw in the comic books, but not only that, I think it's almost the same shade of blue that we see on some of the more modern Cyclops action figures. So it kind of brings a much more uniformity to the team, especially if you display these figures next to each other. It comes with an alternate portrait, which is sculpted just beautifully. I'm really impressed with this. It comes with the alternate hands, the finger that's pointed, the palm that's open. He has two fists with the claws pulled in, and of course he has the two fists with the claws out. Like I stated, this is Wolverine in his Astonishing X-Men costume. And one detail that I so appreciate is that the facial sculpt is very reminiscent of the older Toy Biz figure from way back in the day, and I'll take that out in a little bit. Gorgeous illustration by the late artist John Cassidy, who drew Wolverine during the Astonishing X-Men run. If you're a comic book fan, you'll remember Cassidy being attached to other comic books like Planetary, but his run on X-Men was was very memorable, and his interpretation of all the X-Men characters was just great. And this is one of his more iconic evergreen illustrations of Logan. You know, it's Wolverine in his trademark leaping pose. All right, let's get started and take this guy out. As usual, I'm very excited to check this, to check this figure out. And I don't know, let's look at him up close. This is something that I've never seen in the wild. I had to get this guy online through Amazon. And at the time when I purchased him on Amazon, I was able to get him for retail. But since then, I think the price has gone up, especially on the secondary market. And with the release of Deadpool and Wolverine, you know, a lot of people are on the hunt for Wolverine and Deadpool figures. Gorgeous looking figure. This thing is amazing. Like I said, this might be the end-all, be-all Wolverine figure for many people. I would love it if they gave us a figure of this level of quality and detail, but Wolverine in his brown and orange costume, or even his much more classic yellow and blue one. Even though this is his yellow and blue uniform, the Astonishing X-Men costume was a much more modern interpretation. You know, for me, I would love the older one with the black tiger stripes and the black shoulder pads. The head is amazing. This thing is so well crafted. I love how his his wings on the side of his mask, they're not too large. It's kind of a much more practical re-envisioning of Wolverine's mask, where the wings are a lot shorter and a lot more compact and closer to his head. You know, it still gives him the presence of being Wolverine, but it's not overly done. His teeth are sculpted so clean. You know, he's really bearing his fangs, and the paint job around his lips and the stubble on his chin is this executed very nicely. All right, we get the one extra pair of hands. These are the closed fists with the claws pulled in. All we get the pointer finger for when Wolverine's like angry and is giving everyone orders. We have the open palm, which is nice. And here we go. We have Wolverine. This is an awesome figure. I'm so stoked on having this one. All right, let's balance out the colors a little bit more so we have a much more accurate look. The one thing you'll notice with this Wolverine is that his proportions are, he's very stocky and shorter looking character, as you'd expect. Because in the comic books, you know, he's always been listed at being anywhere between, I think, like 5'3" and 5'6". He stands in at a little over 5 3/4. Here's a height comparison next to the Marvel Legends Vulcan figure, a very standard buck that we see in the Marvel Legends line. The height here seems to be pretty accurate. Here's a much more older Wolverine figure in his traditional brown and orange costume. Hasbro, they've been very good about keeping Wolverine's figure height consistent, you know, over the last maybe like, I don't know, 15 years. It looks great. In terms of the sculpting, really well done. I love the head sculpt on this guy. It's such a throwback to the older Toy Biz figure, which I do have on hand. So this figure is the Astonishing X-Men Wolverine figure from years ago. This one's produced by Toy Biz, not Hasbro. And you can kind of see the likeness in the head sculpts. They really pulled a page from John Cassidy's interpretation of the character. But immediately when I saw this, I'm like, it's not a one-for-one recreation of the Toy Biz one. But it seems like they got the proportions and the shape of the head kind of just right. This is a great figure. It's very dated, and it doesn't age well, but I think this is such an awesome figure. And the one thing I think this figure has leg up on is that it has Wolverine with his mask pulled down, which I kind of wish this figure had. We've seen Hasbro do that a couple of times, most recently with the X-Men 97 Wolverine figure. Gorgeous figure. This thing's awesome. I love that it took forever, but finally they found a way of just doing his claws cleanly so they're not bent. They look great. They're nice and pointy. They're not going to go in all sorts of wacky directions, although they do come off, much like the older ones. Which is kind of a shame, because there's been some figures where the claws are permanently attached to the fist, and I prefer that as opposed to being able to pull these out. But it's still very well done. We have Wolverine's much more modern belt buckle with the two capsules on the side of the badge. The tiger stripes on his side, nicely done. As is the padding on the forearm gloves. Again, with the Astonishing costume, it's a little bit more practical, so the wings on his boots, very, very small, very compact, almost non-existent. They kind of really hug and conform to his calf muscle. In terms of the articulation, his head swivels, looks down, not so much. Does he look up? Not that much either. The articulation on his arms, really well done. You know, they did a great job of getting the shoulder armor attached to the arm very cleanly. The butterfly joints on this figure, thankfully they move. On some, I see this all the time, on a lot of Hasbro figures. For me, I have such bad experiences with the butterfly joints where they're stuck. Sometimes they'll break. But this one, yeah, these are nice. These are moving. Nice paint application and sculpting to kind of recreate Wolverine's hairy arms. And then the arms do go up. Do they go outward? They do go outward. There's a bicep cut right there. Very clean double pinned elbows. It's a pinless design. Articulated wrists. A diaphragm cut so he can arch forward, arch back, and kind of like rock around. And he does not have a waist swivel, but he does have an ab crunch also. So the posability is there. His legs kick upward, outward, and there you have a swivel. Clean pinless design for the knees, and he has articulated ankles, which also feature tilt, so you can get them in wider stances. And yeah, gorgeous figure. For me, on a scale of 1 to 10, that's easy. I'm going to say a solid 8.5 to a 9. If this is your go-to Wolverine costume, this is this is all you'll ever need. It's fantastic. And let's try the other head on. This head will not pop off. There we go. This is a tight fit. Yeah, he looks awesome with the mask. This is a great looking figure. Look at that. Yeah, definitely one of the best Wolverine figures we've gotten in such a long time. And let's do a comparison because I do have some other Wolverine figures on me. Like I mentioned and displayed earlier, we have the Toy Biz Astonishing X-Men Wolverine. You know, I know this is an older figure, but I'm so fond of it. It doesn't really hold up to like modern engineering, but I don't know. For its day, I thought it was nice. We also have the recently re-released Resurrected Wolverine with the heated claws. Again, this is kind of like a similar costume. This is Astonishing X-Men costume. And you can see what I was talking about. Like here, the boots have the larger wings, where these are almost non-existent. But this one has a much better, well-proportioned body than this one here. I think moving forward, you know, Hasbro should really use this as the standard for their Wolverine figures. We have the old 91 Toy Biz Wolverine figure with the retractable claws. I love this figure. I am so fond of this figure. This one's great. Up next, we have the Deadpool Legacy re-release of the Wolverine figure, the Hugh Jackman one. Great figure. My only complaint is that the hair color is really, really off. It's like a light brown. And then lastly, we have another Wolverine yellow and blue costume. I think this was from the Utopian era. Kind of a modern take on the Astonishing one without the shoulder pads. It's kind of like a weird hybrid between Astonishing and classic brown costume Wolverine. So we have that one right here. So yeah, I can't recommend this figure enough. It's beautiful. It's amazing. And for many of you, this might be the only Wolverine figure you'll need. So with that being said, let's wrap this video up. Once again, my name is Lou. If you're new to my channel, welcome. If you are a returning viewer or subscriber, thank you so much for your continued support. I greatly appreciate it. So until the next video, be safe, take care of yourself, buy lots of toys, and most importantly, be happy. And I'll see you at the next one. All right, later.